Good. Sorry, guys, we're on. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking today about World War III, UK conscription date, and active war preparations that are being made as we speak. Listen, before I get into this, there's a lot of other things additionally that have been happening in the United Kingdom and around the world. I want to focus this live stream on UK conscription date. I am going to give you my perceived date. A few of you guys have been sending me messages. You guys have got friends in the military, things that I'm hearing behind the scenes. So I am going to give you guys an actual date when I think UK conscription or voluntary, you know, the voluntary service that if they don't get the numbers, but then all the infrastructure's in place that makes conscription really easy. I am going to give you that date, guys. Okay. Lots of things happening around the world. Lots of things happening in the United Kingdom. I want to just share this article with you guys briefly, and then I will start on my opening monologue. So let me just share this with you now. Okay. So this is an article from Deborah Haynes on the 27th of today, basically, 27th of November. Military chiefs in difficult meeting as tensions mount over money. They always do, guys. Tensions always mount over money. Britain's top brass. And look, guys, if you're in the United Kingdom right now, this is going to affect you. Whether you have no military ties, whether you don't want to be in the military, whether you couldn't care less, it is going to affect you because we're going to have World War III and World War IV fought simultaneously. And I'm going to say that World War IV started first. So Britain's top military chiefs held a very difficult meeting this week over how to fund plans to rebuild the armed forces amid fears of further cuts, defense sources have said. The Ministry of Defence have played down a report in the Spectator magazine that the top brass, led by Air Chief Marshal Sir Richard King Knighton, the chief of the defence staff, planned to write an extraordinary joint letter to John Healey, the defence secretary, to explain that his defence review published in June cannot be delivered without more money. So if you guys can remember back in June, there was this big defense budget and they were saying, look, the fucking Russians are coming. You know, we need to prepare for a full-out war with Russia, but there's been no more money. There's been no more money put into this. And you know what, guys? Unfortunately, shit costs money. Now, the MOD are saying that there is no such letter and adding that such communication was not expected to be received either. However, other sources from within the Army, Navy and Air Force confirmed to Sky News that there is a growing concern among chiefs about the gap between the promises being made by Keir Starmer's government. We're getting that a lot, aren't we, guys? We're getting that a lot about the promises made and the reality. To fix the UK's hollowed out armed forces and the reality of the size of the defence budget, which is currently not seen as growing fast enough. Look, guys, you know, we are look, guys, I'm ex-military. I'm ex-military. I would, even now, if anybody asks me, Sean, should we join the military? You know, is it worth joining the military? I will always say yes. You know, I do think it is worth joining the military. I totally understand, though, when I joined in the 90s, you know, when I joined the military in the 90s, the world was different. The world was very different. This was pre-9/11. This was pre-Iraq, pre-Afghanistan. The whole world was different, you know. So I totally understand that a lot of people... Sorry, guys, I've not got the chat on. I just keep doing that, don't I? I need to put it on as soon as I start talking. So I do understand, you know, that a lot of people will not want to join the military, and I totally accept that, guys. I'm not going to hold anything against you. What I would say is, for me, joining the military did open a lot of doors that it wouldn't normally. Right. Guys, there's lots of comments going. Yeah, Starmer declaring war will be hilarious. It would, wouldn't it? It would be like, are you telling the truth, Starmer? Donna is saying German preparing plan to deploy 800,000 NATO troops to Eastern Europe. Listen, guys, I've got all of this. I've got all of this in my opening monologue. If you're on now, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, do all those things that help this channel grow. Red Wolf is saying, did Russia reject the peace plan? First of all, you know, there wasn't ever really a peace plan. It was kind of just red tape, and it's like, you know, when, like, for example, our eldest, one of the girls, she had a verruca on her foot, right? She had a verruca on her foot. And you know when you peel that bazooka off, and you're like peeling that stuff off, and she was terrified because it hurts. She said, Daddy, can I just rub it with a piece of... No, I need to pull it off. Can I rub it under the tap? No, I need to pull it off. Can I try? Yeah, go on then, go and try. Did it work? No, right? It's kind of this situation we're going in here. There's going to be no peace. You know, there's going to be no ceasefire in Ukraine. It's absurd that anybody thinks that, you know. This is the map here. So this is from the 26th of so this is yesterday, okay? So this town here, in fact, I can remember, and I know you guys can as well. You guys can remember when the Russians had pushed up to this road. You know, can you see this yellow road? You guys can remember when the Russians had pushed up to that road. Now look, every day the Russians are taking ground. Let's see how far they are. So just for context, guys, from disputed area to disputed area. That's what the map's saying. I know it's a bit skew with. 1 point less than a mile. So they've got less than a mile to close up, the Russians, and they've done the pincer movement. There's no stopping it, guys. There is no stopping it without more men, and that's, you know, and that is what's needed right now. The Ukrainians, they need more men. Right, guys, I'm going to jump onto my excuse me. I'm going to jump onto my opening monologue about the European militaries that are on high alert. So all over Europe, guys, militaries are making big, bold moves. Now, I'm not making this up. I'm giving you guys the facts, okay? I'm giving you guys the facts. These, you know, militaries are making big, bold moves. So let me just start, and I'll get through this. I may stop halfway and then come and get some chat, or I may just continue. I don't know. So obviously, what are we on now? It's like late 2025, November 2025. NATO's European members are all accelerating their military buildup amid escalating warnings of Russian aggression. I'll come on to the UK afterwards. And the date that I think conscription or conscription light or non-mandatory military service or voluntary military service is going to be announced. Intelligence assessments from countries like Denmark, Germany, and Sweden indicate Russia could test NATO's borders potentially through hybrid attacks. I would say they're doing that already. Incursions in the Baltics, or direct confrontation within 3 to 5 years. Now, when this report was written, I think we've only got about 2 years left now. And this is all regardless of any Ukraine ceasefire. So whether there's a ceasefire or not in Ukraine, and I don't think there will be, kind of doesn't matter because the direction of travel is one way. This generational threat has prompted a surge in defense spending, with many nations committing to 2% of GDP or more, alongside rapid deployment plans for tanks, troops across the continent to counter a potential Russian offensive. Germany's secret wartime logistics blueprint, for instance, emphasizes using its infrastructure to funnel NATO's reinforcements eastward, underscoring the bloc's shift from deterrence to active war preparation. So obviously they're talking about the what's the big road that the Germans built? You're allowed to go fast on it. I can't remember what it's called. This urgency, however, is evident in Poland, which borders Ukraine and views itself as NATO's frontline state. Warsaw is launching its largest ever, hear this guys, okay, civilian defense initiative in November. Yeah, November 2025, aiming to train Sit down, get a cup of tea, guys, okay? Sit down, get a cup of tea. Aiming to train 400,000 people, including reservists and volunteers, in basic military skills by the end of 2026. This includes expanding activities to active reserve, to 8,700 personnel, which is up from the current number, and a voluntary service cap of 39,000 people, with plans to eventually mandate training for every adult male. And you think things are fine, and people are saying everything's fine, everything's fine, nothing will happen. We are in a, we're in a pre-war state, guys. We are. Poland is is also modernizing its forces across all domains, adding F-35s, boosting troop numbers. I think they want to boost their troop numbers to over. I'm talking about active personnel now, to over 200,000. These numbers are phenomenal, guys. These numbers are absolutely phenomenal. Similar moves are underway in Germany and France, which are reflecting a wider continent. A continent that's pivoted towards conscription, a conscription light. Let's call it conscription light, because let's be clear, guys. All right. Once you start with the volunteers, that's just to get the infrastructure in place. Oh, we're not going to conscript you. We're not going to conscript you. Nobody's talking about conscription. Right. Get everything in. Make sure everything works. Make sure the logistics and the food and the barracks, right, where do they go and who's got those training areas, and right, where do they send their ammo? I told you months back. I told everybody months back. I've got a friend whose son was, I think he'll have finished now. I've got a friend whose son was going through infantry training center in Catterick, and he was telling me how it's all changed. How the infantry training center in Catterick now, they've restructured. And the first thing when he told me, I said, they've restructured the infantry training center now to accept absolute masses of troops now. They're gearing up to do mass training. On November last week sometime. It was this month, November 2025. The Germans shifted to a selective conscription model, whereby the coalition government finalized a plan to reinvigorate the Bundeswehr, whatever it's called, the German army, Europe's largest conventional army, by personnel, but chronically understaffed at around 180,000. When I give you the numbers on the British military, you're going to have a little bit of an touching cloth moment, guys. You are. So the German military, as it stands, is 180,000 active troops, which is stood against its 203,000, which is its target. The scheme is going to start on the 1st of January 2026 with voluntary service for 18-year-olds, offering 12 to 23-month paid training, higher salaries, 3,000 euros a month for longer terms, and perks like subsidized driver's license. There you go, guys. You want to get paid in a driver's license? Get yourself joined up. However, all 18-year-olds must complete a mandatory questionnaire and physical exam, creating a selective pool for potential call-up. So here's the thing, right? Why would you call this conscription at this early stage? You wouldn't. Remember, these little tiptoes, little stage by stage. However, and this is the Germans we're talking about now, guys, if the volunteers fall short, the Germans will escalate that to compulsory military service. Now, I'm pretty sure that's conscription. Whatever you call it, if you're made to join the military, that is conscription. I don't know how they're going to do that, because that's against people's human rights, but there we go. We're not going to worry about human rights anymore. We only worry about migrants' human rights. What about those migrants over there? They've not had their 3 meals a day. Oh, you've got just against their human rights. All right, okay, give them the 3 meals a day. Right, get all our lads over there to go and fight a war. What about their human rights? Don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. So this would be, you know, reviving, reviving, drafts and conscription. It would add to these recruitment issues that the German military have. France, ladies and gentlemen, today, this is breaking news, guys, okay? Today. France, President Emmanuel Macron announced a voluntary national service program tailored to 18 and 19-year-olds launching 2026 as a direct response to accelerating threats from Russia. Participants commit to 10 months of paid military or civilian defense training, focusing on skills like cybersecurity, logistics, and basic combat. I'm pretty much guessing it's going to be like, like when you're in the army, they say like, right, who wants to go adventure training? We've got abseiling, we've got kayaking, we've got mountain quad biking, we've got free falling, and we've got hill walking. And then people are like, yeah, I'll have some of that. And then when everybody's volunteered, they're like, yeah, everything's been cancelled. The only thing that's operating now is hill walking. And you're like, what? And that's it. You're just hill walking. It's a little trick the military do, guys. It's a little trick the military do. Sorry, guys, where am I now? So this is what the French are talking about this. You know, they want to focus on skills like cybersecurity, logistics, and basic combat. Now, what they're saying is they have no immediate plans for compulsory military service. And look, guys, let's be real. Let's be real, fam. Yeah, I almost did that Hitler salute, didn't I? Let's be real, fam. You hear me, fam? You know, I'm big up one time, reeling it in with a massive. We all know what that language means. When a government comes out and says, we have no immediate plans for compulsory military conscription. Oh, hang on a minute. Do you have any later plans? Do you have any later plans for military? Do you have any plans? Oh, yeah, we've got shitloads of them, but they're going to be after, after June or whatever. I want to talk about the United Kingdom now, because obviously I'm ex-British military. I would always, I don't think what situation I could get to where I would say to somebody that joining the military wasn't a positive experience for me. So the UK's funding crisis and rebuild fiasco. I don't even know what to talk about. I mean, we've just spent $5 billion, more than $5 billion on this Ajax armored vehicle. And you guys have been with me for a long time. You guys have been following me for a long time. I've said from day one, that motherfucker is a piece of shit. It's an absolute piece of shit. They should just scrap the whole thing, accept the loss, and just accept it. Just move on. Just accept it and move on, because that piece of shit is going to hurt people. Not bad guys either. I'll probably do another live stream on that or a standalone video. So the UK, NATO's second largest contributor financially, faces acute pressure. On the 26th of November, top military chiefs, we just spoke about it, convened for a very difficult meeting to grapple with the funding black hole the June 2025 Strategic Defense Review demands. $75 billion extra over 5 years to rebuild the army, which is we are down to 73,000 in the army. Doesn't sound good, does it, when we're considering we're going to be fighting a land war in Eastern Europe? The Royal Navy, the RAF, rebuild the army and Royal Navy and RAF amid Russian threats. But the Treasury allocation shortfall risking further hollowing out. Chiefs warned of an existential threat, risk to readiness with equipment shortages and recruitment shortfalls. Are you sat down, guys? Missing their targets by 15% yearly. I don't know if you understand how big that number is. 15, so the army is missing recruitment by 15% yearly. That is phenomenal, guys. That is absolutely phenomenal. And it's leaving us really vulnerable. Public support for national service has grown, and some polls are putting it at 60% favourite. I don't know where I am with that, guys. I don't know where I am with national service. I really don't know where I am. However, political inertia, last seen like 2024 when they were talking about the youth scheme proposal, has stalled action. Now, I'm going to give you guys the date when I think conscription, voluntary service, whatever, I'm going to give you guys the date when I think this is going to start. And I've been speaking to a few of you guys on the chat. I've been getting some inbox messages of a few people, and not everybody's around. Not everybody's talking about the same date. But I'm going to give you guys a potential announcement date of February 2026. I'm going out there, guys. I'm putting it out there. I might be wrong, but from the data that I've got, looking at the situation on the ground, looking at how quickly Germany announced this, Poland announced this, Poland announced this, and how quick France have announced things. I'm thinking, right, okay, we've just had the budget. That's going to bring us. You can't do it now. December, it will be a nightmare doing it over December. You would want to do it mid to late February. I'm saying you would want to do it mid to late February because that's when people are at their lowest. Statistically, that's when more people, at the end of February, more people decide to do things to themselves. Let's just leave it there. So February 2026, guys, all right? We'll revisit this video in February 2026, but I'm going to give you now the steps that I see would have to happen for this to work and for this to move forward. So if the UK mirrored Germany's selective voluntary, I don't even know what these things are called, guys. I don't even know what we're going to call them anymore. Or, or whether they mirrored France's opt-in program, doesn't really matter. I'm saying my date for this would be mid to late, I'm going to say February 2026, all right? It's going to demand quite a lot of stuff to happen. And for that training to take place, it's also going to, they're going to have to take a lot of things. So I've broken this down into 5 phases. This will be a 5-phase operation. Phase 1 would obviously be the immediate policy announcement. So February 2026, Keir Starmer and his government, they issue a white paper or emergency decree or something, I don't know, saying, look, this situation's bad because look, let's you guys just saw the map, right? Out in Ukraine, the situation is getting worse every day. They're like, what, 1.5? They're like less than a mile away now from closing that pincer up. So I do think February would be a good time to, a good time to announce this. Obviously, when they announce this, the immediate announcement, the white paper, I do think they're going to do a lot of things and they're going to make this really attractive. They're going to make it really attractive, like going to Poland for 3 months to do cross-training with the Polish. And guys, listen, I'm not going to lie. It will be an adventure for you. It will be an absolute adventure for you. And look, I know everybody's different, but that will be an adventure for you. Can you imagine it? Can you imagine it, right? Like, you've got nothing now, nothing happening in your life. There's no jobs. The economy's fucked. Nobody's employing and you see how all these little bits jump together now. You can see, can't you? You can see how all these little parts fit together. Break the economy, make people unemployed, then push them into the army. I did say this last year, but you can see it really now. I mean, you can really see it. And if you're sat there as a young man, I don't know, 16, 17, 18, you've just left school, there's literally no fucking work. And then the government's saying, I'll give you $3,000 a month if you go to Poland and have a military exercise. You'd be like, yeah, I'll definitely do that. 100% I'm in for that. So, I do think these things are going to be attractive. I do, guys. I do think these are going to be, I think these things are going to be attractive. once that's announced, there's going to have to be some sort of legislative fast tracking, you know, to introduce a new national service bill via the Armed Forces Act, maybe Armed Forces 2006 amendments, you know, no full new law would be needed if this was a voluntary rollout. For, you know, for selective registration, for example. Now, I'm going to say that I think they will follow the suit. I don't think they're going to target 16 and 17-year-olds. I was 16 when I joined the army because I'm rock and roll. I do think they're going to use that same, you know, over 18s thing, you know, the over 18s thing. You would then have to have infrastructure and recruitment and infrastructure. So, you know, we've had this wokeness, like we've had this wokeness about, you know, if you want to join the army, you get to stop, take your boots off and pray 5 times a day. Yeah, there'll be none of that shit. It will literally be like rock music, union flags. It will be some awesome recruitment stuff, guys. It really will. This will be an absolute media, social media, school blitz. It will be everywhere. They'll be emphasizing the pay. They will say, look, we're actually offering you good pay. We're offering you skills in cyber warfare, in drones, you know, maybe even like, I don't know, free driving license, student relief loans or whatever. They will make this very attractive. They're probably going to have to set up recruitment centers around the country, you know, existing cadets or TA sites, whatever, you know, whatever. You know, but I do think there's going to be a lot of cross training with Eastern Europe. I think there'll be like Polish people coming in and giving like talks on how exciting it is in Poland and showing pictures of all these people having fun with beers and stuff. Yeah, it's not going to be like that when you get out there. There's going to be the training and operational rollout. Now, this will start with pilot courses, you know, and I think they're going to try and really keep this short because they don't really want people doing bullshit. They literally, I would say there would be a if I was doing this, I would do a 4-week basic training. The normal basic training, I think, is 12 weeks. And then you go on and do your trade. So you can condense this down to 4 weeks of basic training and then go on to do your additional trades, whatever that might be, you know, whatever that might be. But I do think it's going to get really condensed down. And then there would be the, you know, there'll be the public and international safeguards that would have to be put on that, like, you know, the human rights and all sort of stuff would have to go on to the end of that. But look, guys, I do think that this is coming, and I do think the most likely time, well, for me, I'm saying February 2026. I can't really see it being left longer than that. You can't really leave it longer than that. You know, you need to you need to get this moving now. Anyway, guys, I'm conscious I've just waffled there for like 20 minutes or something on permanent send. Right, I'm on the chat, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on the chat. Welcome, everyone. We are triple streaming today, guys. We're triple streaming. Yeah, we are. We are on YouTube. We're on X. And we have started streaming on Twitch. Yes, we have. We've started streaming on Twitch. Why? Because I want to get some of these Gen Zs. I want some of these Gen Zs to start listening. I want Gen Zs to start listening because I want those Gen Zs following me, guys. I'm all about Gen Z. I'm all about Gen Z. Right, let me jump up and get some comments. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. If you've not done so already, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I really do. Do you know what? I just enjoy that. Donna is saying the DC shooter worked for the CIA. So, just to be clear, guys, all right? That doesn't, you know, it doesn't really mean that much. The CIA is not like, it's not one department. There are lots of departments. Lots of people work for similar departments. And I would say it's got no relevance. I think what it actually says is you can't trust some people. I'd say it means you can't trust some people, guys. That's what I would say. You know, if these people have worked for the and I have no reason to doubt it, But if these people have worked for the Central Intelligence Agency, so they're like, you know, as far as anyone's concerned, they're like all American, right? This guy, Ramili or whatever his name is, he's like an all-American hero, right? He's up there with, what's his name? That quarterback. Somebody tell me what's that quarterback's name? He's only just retired. He's like, I can't. And you got like Randy Couture. He's like an all-American hero. He's like Captain America. He's like Randy Couture. Turns out a leopard never changes its spots. James Brook is saying Ukraine have a closed Orthodox church, an evil act. Oh, Ukraine have closed Orthodox churches. Okay, so just so everybody understands what's happened here. Okay, so the Ukrainians haven't closed Okay, so the Ukrainians have not closed the Orthodox churches. They've closed the Russian Orthodox churches because they were spreading propaganda in their country. What's that on my finger? So just to be clear, guys, okay, the Ukrainians haven't closed all Orthodox churches. They've closed the Russian Orthodox. Philip Gray saying, after that budget, we're absolutely fucked. All aboard Antarctica Express. Yeah, it is, guys. Listen, you know, when I told you guys months ago that there's going to be a mass exodus to Antarctica, when I said that to you guys, right, that there was going to be a mass exodus to Antarctica, you guys thought I was lying, right? You guys just thought I was messing about. You guys thought I wasn't messing about. The way I see it now is you have got communities, you know, you've got big communities now. Am I allowed to say it? Am I allowed to say the communities? I'm not going to say it. You guys know what I'm thinking about, right? We've got community, you know, I'll say it. We've got like huge Pakistani families who are there's just an incentive now for those to have more children, more and more children. Those children are all going to vote. You know, those families are not going to vote for anything else apart from their free money. And then us indigenous white people, you know, we're just paying our bills. What? You're going to take more money off me? Yeah, right. Okay, right. I've got to pay you some. Do you know what, actually? Who said that? Who said that? Right. Philip Gray, let me share a video. Right, okay. Philip Gray, I'm going to share a video now from what Philip Gray said there. I'm going to share this video with you. This is from, I love Katie Hopkins. I do. I love Katie Hopkins. I think she said some bad things about me. I do. I think she said some bad things about me because I'm like pro-Ukraine and I'm just, you know. But listen, I'm gonna share a video now with this. Just watch this video, guys. It is funny. It's very funny. We all love Katie, don't we, guys? We all love Katie. She's mad as a fish. I love Katie.
What? Oh, no. Don't mind me. I'm just responding to the budget from yesterday. I know they told Rachel Reeves, a ceramic bobhead with the number 10 window lickers, needs the shirt off my back. So I'm just getting that to send in to number 10 in between my shifts here on my lunch break. So she's got that shirt off my back. Also, I owe taxes on the taxes of the taxes. So I just earned a £5. So I know that means I have to pay the government a £10. So I'll put that in as well. What's that, Fatima? You want to have another 4 kids? Okay, sure, yeah. I'll just get straight back to work so I can pay for them for you. Yeah, brilliant. I'd love to, yeah.
That's where we are, guys. That is literally where we are right now. That is where we are in the United Kingdom right now. I'll show that video again. I was in bits watching that, guys. I was in absolute bits watching that video. I love Katie. I love Katie Hopkins, even though I don't agree with her on everything. But you know, I think she's great. I do. I think she's great. Templar Matt is saying we need to bonk for Britain. That is a t-shirt, Templar Matt. Templar Matt has just rocked a t-shirt there. We need to bonk for Britain. Bonk for England, guys. Bonk for England. Oh. Right, Donna is saying the tab UK likely to be called up are young fit men and single people without kids and so on. Where are you getting that from? I don't know where you're getting that from. Donna, can you give me a link to that? I don't know where that's coming from. From my experience of recruiting, you literally take anyone. Like, sorry, I'm going to rephrase that. There is a job for everyone, all right? There's a job for everyone. So if you walk through the door of that recruiting office, and you look like me, they're like, dude, right? You go sit yourself down over there. You're for like the tier 1 super secret shit, right? If you walk in there and you're like Keir Starmer, you're like, mate, you go and sit over there. We'll find you something to clean. And if you walk in and you're like David Lammy, there'll be a job for David Lammy as well. So, I think, expectations about this recruiting need to be managed. They really do, guys. They really do need to be managed. PC1 is saying Air Force. Oh, guys. I'll get this right. This is anybody who's got kids. I want you to stay on, and I want to ask you a question in a second, guys. Okay. PC1 is saying H3F. No, he's not saying it. PC1 is saying Air Force at school where I worked yesterday, drumming up support for next year. Exactly. This is going to happen. So the girls came home right from school. I don't know if you guys have got this in secondary school. They've got AI in the classrooms listening. What? I said, what do you mean they've got AI listening? She says, oh, there's AI listening in the classrooms now and recording everything that goes on in the classroom. And I was like, well, surely that's just like a voice recorder. Why is it AI? And she's saying that AI is to listen to what people are saying. I don't know if this is a pilot thing or something, guys, but that sounds absolutely wild to me. They won't put Lammy on boot duty because there's no Velcro. Sharon, I'm sure they can find David Lammy some special boots with like zips or Velcros and tell him he's a special soldier. They'll say, come here, David, you're a special soldier. David, you're a special soldier. You get the special boots. And he'll be like, yeah, actually. And then he'll be standing up there in Parliament. He'll say, when I was in the military, I was so special. I had to have the special boots with Velcro and laces up and zips up the side. BVS1 is saying the Amish were behind and ahead of their time simultaneously. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means, but I like it. If you have Alexa, it documents everything you say and gets stored on a server. I don't disagree. I don't disbelieve that, guys. I don't disbelieve that. What I will say is, like, when you're in the military, all right, and you go to a briefing, you have to leave your phone outside in like a locked box. And I do that now in my home life. If I'm having a meeting with someone, whether I've got like people around who are having a meeting and it's like, maybe sensitive stuff, we all put our phones in the microwave. We don't turn them on, obviously. If we haven't got a microwave, put them in the fridge. Russians have recording devices in schools. Philip Gray is saying AI in the classroom is bloody Terminator. I'm telling you, it's coming. It is coming, guys. It's absolutely coming. It's coming. It's here, and we can see this in real time. We can, guys. We can see this in real time. Right, I've got a few more things to get through, ladies and gentlemen. We have got okay. So I'm going to share you something now. I need to preload you with this, all right? I need to preload everyone with this. I need to preload everyone. So I'm preloading, all right? We know we know that certain communities have lots of children, right? Just bear with me, guys, okay? We know that certain communities have lots of children. And we also know in certain communities, they're all about first cousin marriage, right? We know that's fact. What I'm telling you guys there is fact. It was out in Parliament. What I'm saying is not controversial. There was the guy, I think he was the MP for Birmingham. He was arguing for, marrying your cousin. Now, I'm going to share with you guys a short video from Joe Rogan podcast, and I believe, and this was on Joe Rogan podcast as well. So let me just share this with you guys, and then I'm going to try. I'm not going to cast judgment. I'm going to ask you guys what you guys think. Okay?
This 70% of, I think a part of it was inbreeding.
This is your own theory.
No. Look at
Someone else has a
Muslims and
theory?
inbreeding, major problem.
I've never heard this before.
Especially with immigrants in Britain, like the Pakistanis in London. They'll have all kinds of serious inbreeding problems because that's an even smaller sample size you're dealing with.
Strap yourself in for this. 70% of all Pakistanis are inbred. And in Turkey, the amount...
Did you hear that, guys? 70%? It's there at the top. 70% of all... look, guys, I'm not making this up. This is from Joe Rogan podcast. I'm totally sloping my shoulders. It's got nothing to do with me, all right? It's got nothing to do with me. I'm not saying this. I'm saying that article says today 70% of all Pakistanis are inbred. That's what the article's saying.
Is between 25 to 30%. More stillbirths among immigrants. A rough estimate reveals that close to half of everybody living in the Arab world is inbred.
Half of everybody living in the Arab world is inbred. I'm not saying that. This is actually a BBC research. This is the BBC, right? So I'm woke, guys. I only go with the BBC.
A large percentage of the parents said, this is blowing my mind. So listen to the BBC investigation in Britain several years ago revealed that at least 55% of the Pakistani community in Britain was married to a first cousin. Holy shit. BBC's research also discovered that while British Pakistanis account for just 3.4...
Get this statistic here, guys. Let me rewind this, okay? Listen to these statistics. These are going to blow your fucking mind.
Pakistanis account for just...
So British Pakistanis, when this was done, account for 3.4% of all births in Britain. All right, just bear that in mind. That's what the BBC are saying, not me. I'm not saying this, guys. I've got no judgment on this. The BBC are saying that British Pakistanis accounted for 3.4% of all births. All right, just 3.4% of all births. However,
3.4% of all births in Britain, they accounted for 30% of all British children with recessive disorders and a higher rate of infant mortality.
So just put that into context. You've got a cohort of 3.4% of the British population, of the British children being born, 3.4% account for 30% of the children born with recessive disorders. I'm not saying that. That's the BBC.
What in the fuck?
What in the fuck?
Labour Party MP has called for a ban on first cousin marriage. Medical evidence shows that one of the negative consequences of inbreeding is a 100% increase in the risk of stillbirths.
Did you hear that? I'm not saying it there. Look, medical evidence shows that one of the negative consequences of inbreeding is 100% increase in the risk of stillbirths.
Wow. That is insane.
I also read somewhere that a lot of the symptoms of inbred people are irrational rage.
Irrational rage? Sound familiar?
Put that
fanaticism. And they end up just describing ISIS.
Look at what it says here. that with the IQ points, it says findings on intelligence. Research shows that if one's parents are cousins, intelligence goes down 10 to 16 IQ points.
So here's the thing, all right? If you're having children, right? Yeah, with your cousin, and they've got problems with them, lower IQ, risk of ailments, and then they have already in a week state, and I am talking about fucking eugenics, guys, and then they have children with their cousin. You see where we're fucking going, right? You see where we're going.
The risk of having an IQ lower than 70, criterion for being...
Just so everybody knows, guys, I did an IQ test a couple of days ago, and I got 122. Just throwing it out there.
Being retarded, in quotes.
What did he say?
Criterion for being retarded in...
What did he say?
70, criterion for being retarded, in quotes. Are they using that word? Mm-hmm. Increases 400% among children from cousin marriages. Well, let me say that again. The risk of having an IQ lower than 70 increases 400% amongst children from cousin marriages. Jesus Christ.
And why don't we know this? Because people don't like the truth.
Islamophobia. They don't like being called Islamophobic by even discussing it. Like, we're going to be called Islamophobic for even bringing this up.
So what do we think, guys? What do we think with this new child cap being lifted? You know, what do you think is going to happen? Like, what do you think is going to happen? You know, and I don't mean, and I'm not, I honestly, guys, I'm didactically looking forwards, because some people now in the United Kingdom won't be thinking about getting a job, working, paying taxes. They'll just be thinking, right, where's my cousin? Right, come here. Let's get some kids banged out and let's get them to marry their cousin. And have, like, you see what do you understand the mess we're in? Do you understand Antarctica 2050? Do you understand what I was saying now, guys? There's going to be no way out of this. What else have we got? We've done that. I guess we've done this. So an article out from the Independent today, guys. I've already spoke about this. So this is an article out from the Independent today, Thursday, the 27th of November. France to reintroduce military service amid Russian threat. France's military currently comprises of 200,000 active personnel and over 40,000 reservists. Where are we? Yeah, they're just. I'm not going to go into that, guys. So I'm just conscious of the time. But you know, it's what we've said previously. We've got the Polish, the Germans, the French, the Latvians, the Estonians. You know, everybody's getting ready. Everybody's getting ready for the inevitable. Yeah, I think we all need to get to Antarctica, guys. We all need to go to Antarctica as quick as we can. Could be why there's so much autism these days. I do think that, you know, a lot of stuff that we eat, you know, is responsible. IEO is saying in 2004, the UK experienced a significant exodus of 10,800 millionaires. And I would say in 2025, they're experiencing that exodus as well. Do you know what? I forgot to, I've not got it. I was reading somewhere as well that they were saying that this new budget is going to lead to universal basic income. BVS is saying all international for the ones who want to take over that are already have the power. Rand wealth to escape. Power and wealth to escape. Sorry, not Rand. I was thinking like the Rand Corporation or like a Rand report. to escape the consequences or responsibility. Donna is saying an estimated 6 million non-British nationals in the UK in 2020. More recent data using a different methodology indicates that the number of non-UK born residents in England and Wales was around 11.4 million. We're too far gone. We're too far gone, ladies and gentlemen. We are too far gone. We're at a stage, you know, we're at a stage now where you've got first, second, third generation immigrants who have not assimilated. They don't even speak English. A lot of them, some of them, you know. So I don't think it matters about who was born where. I really don't, guys. I really don't think it matters who was born where. I'm in the Winchester. Hang on. Go to Benidorm, have a nice cold pint and wait for this to all blow over. The Loop is saying you can marry your second cousin in the UK as there are currently no laws prohibiting it. You just pick on our country. No, I'm not picking on anyone. I didn't mention any countries. What I'm saying is the BBC did an investigation and they found massive massive birth problems with the children. You know, they found that 3.7%. Sorry, that this is the BBC, not me, guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm you know. The BBC found that 55% of British Pakistanis, whatever that means, are inbred. So their mum and dad are cousins, right? Now, what they also found is the British Pakistani community contribute 3.4% of births to the United Kingdom. But they represent 30% of all child, I can't remember what he said, defections or whatever it was. Now, I didn't say that. That's what the BBC said. You know, so you can marry your second cousin in the UK as there's currently no law prohibiting it. You know, there's probably no law, you know, saying you can't shag your mum and dad, but you're not going to do it, are you? Because he's just fucking sick. It is. It's just sick. It is. It's sick. I don't care what anybody says. Men can marry men as well. They can. Men can marry men. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Bandagini saying, no, it was from the BBC. Allegedly, listen, guys, I want to be very slopey shoulders here. I want to be very slopey shoulders here, guys. Okay. I want to be very slopey shoulders here in this and say, do you know what? There's quite a few people. Listen, guys, I'm really not throwing dirt on anyone. I'm really not throwing dirt on anyone. Right, I'll share this video again, all right? I'm going to share this video again because I can see it's getting people angry, all right? I didn't do this video, okay? I didn't make this video, all right? Guys, I'm not talking about legalities. Mate, with respect, I'm not talking about legalities. I'm talking about, like, you know, I can go and throw myself off a bridge and that is totally legal. I'm going to have a medical problem afterwards, right? Am I right? So, look, guys, I'm just going to play this video again. I'm not going to answer any questions on it afterwards. If you've got a problem with this video, take it up with the BBC, take it up with Joe Rogan, you know, because it's certainly not me. I'm just showing you what somebody else has said.
I think a part of it was inbreeding.
This is your own theory.
So we're not talking about the legalities here, guys. We're not talking. Just because something's legal doesn't mean you should do it. We're not talking about the legalities. We're talking about the reality. All right, the reality of inbreeding.
No. Look at
Someone else has a
Muslims and
theory?
inbreeding, major problem.
I've never heard this before.
Especially with immigrants in Britain, like the Pakistanis in London. They'll have all kinds of serious inbreeding problems because that's an even smaller sample size you're dealing with.
Strap yourself in for this. 70% of all Pakistanis are inbred. And in Turkey, the amount is between 25 to 30%. More stillbirths among immigrants. A rough estimate reveals that close to half of everybody living in the Arab world is inbred. A large percentage of the parents said, this is blowing my mind. So listen to the BBC investigation in Britain several years ago revealed that at least 55% of the Pakistani community in Britain was married to a first cousin. Holy shit. BBC's research also discovered that while British Pakistanis account for just 3.4% of all births in Britain, they accounted for 30% of all British children with recessive disorders and a higher rate of infant mortality. What in the fuck?
Just read this here, guys. Sorry, look. So you got e.g. cystic fibrosis, spinal muscular atrophy, is 18 times higher. Risk of death due to malformations is 10% higher. Mental health is also at risk. The probability of depression is higher in community. So it's not me. You're not arguing with me, guys. And all this is legal. So it's all legal. So go do it. Go and do it. Go and do it. Go and do it for all I care. You know what? I actually go and do it because you're going to get extra money for doing this.
Labour Party MP has called for a ban on first cousin marriage. Medical evidence shows that one of the negative consequences of inbreeding is a 100% increase in the risk of stillbirths. Wow. That is insane.
I also read somewhere that a lot of the symptoms of inbred people are irrational rage, fanaticism, and they end up just describing ISIS.
Look at what it says here. That with the IQ points, it says findings on intelligence. Research shows that if one's parents are cousins, intelligence goes down 10 to 16 IQ points. The risk of having an IQ lower than 70, criterion for being retarded, in quotes, are they using that word? Mm-hmm. Increases 400% among children from cousin marriages. Well, let me say that again. The risk of having an IQ lower than 70 increases 400% amongst children from cousin marriages. Jesus Christ.
And why don't we know this? Because people don't like the truth.
Islamophobia. They don't like being called Islamophobic by even discussing it. Like, we're going to be called Islamophobic for even bringing this up.
Information has to come out.
So I don't want to get into an argument. All right, that's the information that I was sharing with everyone. If people want to say in the chat that, oh, but cousin marriage is legal, absolutely fine. Go fucking marry your cousin. Bang her till next Sunday. Have a shitload of kids and I'll just pay for it. That's absolutely fine. What I'm saying is, I wasn't talking about the legalities. I was talking about the medical reality, like my medical, if I smoke, we all know that if you smoke, it's bad for you. It raises the risk of cancer, lung cancer. It lowers your fitness. It lowers your cardiovascular. We all know that. Smoking's still legal. Doesn't mean it's good for you. You see where I'm going, guys? I can drink a bottle of whiskey a night. Totally legal. It's going to be really bad for me. I can go and jump off I can do a high dive off a diving board into a swimming pool with no water in it. I'm going to have a medical problem when I hit the bottom. All right. So just because something's legal doesn't mean it's good for you. All right. And it certainly doesn't mean that you should do it. Right, where are we, guys? Let me get some more questions on the chat. Philip Cray saying the revolution is coming. The revolution is coming. Yeah, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a mass movement to. I think it's going to be a mass exodus to Antarctica. I think we're beyond. I think we're beyond swizzled at the moment, guys. I think we're beyond swizzled. Out of date info being quoted. Look, guys, I'm holding my hands up. I'm absolutely holding my hands up to any information that was just said. Like, if anybody's got any questions, go take it up with Joe Rogan. Go take it up with the BBC. I'm just sharing that information with you guys. The only thing I would say is, if you have it, like, for example, generationally, do you think certain communities are going to get smarter and more articulate and evolve into a higher purpose by having children with their cousin? That children may be of a, like we just heard there, may have problems with them physically, mentally, who knows? Then that child has to have another child with their cousin, so that compounds the risk, compounds the ailments. That's what I'm seeing with this, guys. You know, that's what I'm seeing with this. Yeah, and the Loop keeps saying the reality is it's legal. Loop, I'm not talking about. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to mention this, guys. All right, smoking's legal, drinking's legal, eating raw pork's legal, but it's all those things are going to be bad for you. You know, literally all those things will have, you know, bad things for you guys. Right, let me jump down, guys. Let me jump down. They might follow us to Antarctica. Not a chance with an IQ of 35. Feckless Boy saying, don't listen to the BBC. Therefore, no, I agree. You know what? I agree 100%. The BBC. I agree with what you're saying about the BBC. But listen, guys, if you've got anything you want to take up with me about that, don't worry. Just take it. Go and take it up with Joe Rogan, guys. Okay, take it up with Joe Rogan. Right, listen, guys. I am going to close this down now. The crux of this live stream, I will just go over this real quick. World War III conscription date. I'm calling it, and I'm saying I think we're going to hear something from this government in February 2026. I gave you guys that analysis because I'm looking at what's happening in Poland. I'm looking at the masses of numbers they're trying to recruit. I'm looking at the masses of numbers they're trying to recruit in Germany. I'm looking at the masses of numbers they're trying to recruit in France. And I'm thinking, right, okay, we are going to have to fit into this somewhere in the United Kingdom. So I'm saying by February, we are going to have this massive uptick in we're going to have this massive uptick in recruitment, massive uptick in voluntary military service. But like the Germans, like the Polish, potentially like the French, although they've not announced it yet, if they do not achieve those numbers, voluntary, well, guess what? All the infrastructure's there, all the active war preparations are there. Everything is there for them to just say, oh, well, we've already got this training facility. We've already had a few runs at it. Yeah, just bring them in. Just bring them in now. Bring them in by the truckload. And let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget that we have got thousands, you know what, maybe even more, of people living in, migrants now living in barracks. That's the reality, guys. That is the reality. Yeah, I'm going to close this down now, guys, for a couple of reasons. One, Stranger Things is out. Yes, it is, good sir. Stranger Things Season 5 is out. And I'm going to be back in that house. I've said, listen, don't you put Stranger Things on without me. I'm going to get on there. If you're doing 11, she's going to be like screaming and doing this with her hands and doing like, there's going to be monsters and goblins and Vecna. There's going to be some synthwave. There's going to be all sorts of crazy stuff happening, guys. Anyway, I'm going to close this down now. I'll be back on at 10. And we may even have a little talk about Stranger Things in the morning, guys. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me this evening, guys. And I'll catch you tomorrow morning.